Good morning, YouTube. Good morning. Um, Good afternoon to some of you. Um, I got another video for you guys. And this is gonna be I'm gonna talk about an enemy. Tactics in disguise on what an enemy does. And y'all can see for yourselves, with the knowledge and wisdom I'm going to share with you guys on what happened in my life. And plus I'm going to read a little bit from the Apocrypha on your enemies. And tactics that they use, right? So let's get into it, guys. Let's go to okay, let's start here. So I'm in the book of Sirach, the Ecclesiasticus. Now this is not in your 1611 Bible. This is the Apocrypha, the hidden books. One of my favorite. This has to be my favorite book. It's big on wisdom, y'all. It's big on wisdom. If you're searching for some type of wisdom and understanding in today's time, when it comes to people, in the way they navigate, how they operate, the manipulation, and all of that, y'all. I recommend you read the book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, and the Apocrypha. Starting at chapter 13, verse 5, right? It says, as long as you have anything, he will live with you, and he will strip you bare, but he will feel no distress. If he needs you, he will deceive you, and smile upon you, and raise your hopes. He will speak you fair, and say, is there anything you need? He will shame you with his food, until he has impoverished you again and again. And finally, he will mock you. Let me stop right there. I just stopped at verse 7. Story time. This really happened to me, guys. In the trucking, when I first started trucking, right? I'm going to keep this story a little short. I don't want to get too detailed with it. I'm just going to get to the meat and potatoes, right? So I was living in a luxury apartment in Atlanta, the outskirts of Atlanta, and a friend of mine, older guy, we leased the truck together, made a lot of money, went over the road, and over time, y'all, he wanted to start doing his own thing, and I was living with him, right? I was living with him, he took me in, I moved to Georgia, and he seemed cool at first, but once we started being in a truck together, and we started navigating the world, making money, y'all, making a lot of money, and I started noticing things. I started noticing little small things, in his character, and I understand that every man is not the same. I get that. But when you start seeing shady things, y'all, you know what I'm talking about. So again, y'all, he invited me into his home. He gave me a place to stay. Pretty much a new chapter, a new beginning in my life. This was 5 years ago. It's like 5 years ago. And he would feed me. Give me a place to stay. We made money together. He showed me, pretty much the trucking industry, all that. And I think he was only 1 year inside of trucking. He came from Swift. And eventually, his lady, she helped, she helped me get another place, helped me get a place and all that. And around, COVID is here, right? We're gonna fast forward a little bit. So COVID came up. Everybody know what the world was like during that time. In trucking, man, we was making plenty of money. And he decided to go, he wanted to go and branch off and do his own thing. He kept throwing little hints at me. He kept saying, man, I want to go do my own thing. He just kept saying it in a way that, as in if I was holding him back, right? And, I told him one day, we was at the truck, I think it was in Kansas City, and I told him, I said, man, I don't want to be the one that, that's holding you back. If you want to do your own thing, you should go ahead and do it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to feel a way about it. It is what it is. And I forgot to mention, y'all, he leased the truck in his name. So in all fairness, I would put something up. We drove together about 3 or 4 months. So I put something up, every week, me and him both, for maintenance or something. And so as time goes along, every week I would put something back, $250, $300, depending on how much we made. So again, time goes along. He kept saying he wanted to do his own thing, and he just kept talking about it, y'all. Kept talking about it, which is fine. But at a point, it started getting annoying. And I'm just like, why does he keep talking about this? Go do it, right? So again, y'all, I'm at my place. One day he come to me. We at the grocery store. And he says, well, man, we gotta take the truck back. And it was out of the blue, y'all. It was out of the blue. I was just like, okay, why? He was like, our contract is over. Later on down the line, I found out he lied. We actually got fired because he was wrecking the dang truck. He was wrecking the truck, y'all. The bumper, he went and he hit a tree. He had a ding on the inside. And how I know this is that a few years back, I tried to get back with that same company, and they told me that we was fired. That's how I know he was lying. That's how I know he was lying. But anyway, y'all, so I have my own place, right? And he ended up getting a box truck. This is the first time I ever worked for him. I would leave the company that I was with, and I trusted him. Like I said, he was like a brother, right? A big brother. And y'all, honestly, he didn't test that truck. He didn't do none of that, y'all. So the first run, I think it was to Ohio, he had like an international box truck. And the truck started having problems. It wouldn't crank sometimes. It had like a let down gate at the back, a lift you up and lift you down. It had a switch. The switch wouldn't work sometimes. And I remember that one day I was on the interstate, right? I was coming from Ohio, and next thing you know, the truck, the speed, it has dropped down to like 55 or 45, and it wouldn't go. It wouldn't get no gas. It wouldn't go, y'all. And so I pulled over, and I was like, yo, I said, yo, bro, like, what's going on? Like the truck is this and that, And he didn't believe me, y'all. He didn't believe me. He thought I was making this up, like I was lying. His mind was focused on money and business. So, like I said, y'all, I was just a pawn in his game, right? So, long story short, let's keep it moving. I end up getting to North Carolina, and we end up having I drove 45 miles per hour, real slow, over hills and stuff, going real slow with the truck. I even tried to regen it. That wouldn't work. And so with all that being said, Lisa say, y'all, it didn't work out. It didn't work out, right? He did pay me. He paid me like what, 1,200 for what I worked for, right? I was his driver. He did what he said he was gonna do, so he paid me. He picked me up at the airport because we had to leave the truck in North Carolina for it to get fixed. And over time, again, y'all, long story short, I worked for him another time, twice. And this time, y'all, it's getting rough. It's in late 2022, going to 23. I'm falling behind on bills, rent. My rent went up like $200-$300. Y'all know. And so he came to me. I wasn't making any money. I was with this company in Florida. We were sitting, y'all, for hours. I mean, hours, man. We were sitting. It was so bad. It was in the beginning stages of trucking. It's still bad out here. But then, I guess just with that company, it was horrible. I was sitting hours and hours and hours and hours, y'all. Not getting paid. Getting routed to the yard. Not getting paid. And so I was like, man, I have to do something. And so, he reached out to me one day. I was driving. And he said, man, you know what, man? You want to come back and work for me, man? I got a 18-wheeler. This time you won't be in a box truck. It's a good truck. This and that and the third. And I told him, I paused him right then. And I say, man, listen. I'm not in the best situation. I said, I don't want things to happen and go left the way it did the first time I worked for you. You know what I mean? He was just like, yeah, it's okay. And then he tried to sell it to me. He literally tried to manipulate me into it, right? And he said, well, if you don't do it, man, somebody else gonna make this money. This Mexican guy, he gonna make this money. You know what I mean? And I was just like, man, I need the money, Y'all just not really thinking it through. I should have learned from the first time from working for him. So over time, y'all, I finally get the truck. I get the load. He showed me the truck. When I got in the truck, like the air vents, I noticed that he had the little scent, the little leaves that you hang up in the rearview mirror, right? He had it over the vents. And me, y'all, I am very sensitive to scent, like strong scent, fragrances, right? And so one day I had to take that off. I had to take them off, man, and get it out of the truck, because my allergies was going crazy. And y'all, I started smelling oil, fuel, gas, diesel, death, and I was just like, man, this is not normal. I literally had to wear a mask, y'all, while I was doing the deliveries and the loads. And so finally, I told him, I said, listen, man, I can't keep driving like this. I ran it by him one time, and it was like, okay, we're gonna look into it. He wasn't gonna look into it, y'all. Again, he was focused on himself, money, trying to pay his own bills, right? And he blamed me, and he used his truck against me, right? I would go into details, but things were said, and he practically, he just told me, this is my truck, and if something happened to it, you gonna call me, which is true. He was an asshole about it, but he played me for a fool because I didn't know anything about the percentages and what I was getting paid for the load, right? Him being, a close friend of mine at the time, I wouldn't think he would have played me like that, right? So, anyway, long story short, y'all, it didn't work out. And I was very misled. I was misled by him. Over time, y'all, the truck started having problems, more and more problems. The drive wheel was slipping. I couldn't get on the weight scales at some of these places. When it was raining, I would get stuck. He didn't care. Over time, just needs to say, y'all, it didn't work out. He started acting funny towards me, especially when I was late with a load one day. He started acting very, very funny towards me. And I'm the type of person, man, I don't like driving for anyone who's gonna rush me and keep checking up on me all the time. I don't like that. No one is a kid out here, right? And just with that being said, guys, I was misled by him, and ever since then, we've been downhill. I haven't talked to this man in over nearly 2 years. Which is, I don't care, at a time last year, it hurt me. I was like, yo, we went cross country together. You know what I mean? We was real cool. I saw him as an older brother. But it didn't work out like that. And this man, he brought me into his home, met his children, wife and all, y'all, and they helped me get a place. And my downfall came. Eventually got evicted. Like I said, man, misled. I should have trusted my gut and my instinct when someone told me don't drive for him again. But me, I was thinking about money. I was thinking about try to pay my high price rent, man, $1,300-$1,400. And I was doing Lyft on top of that, guys. When days lows would be slow, I would just tell him, like, look, I can't sit here. He don't pay me for sitting. So I would jump in my car, in my Volkswagen I had at the time, and I would go make money doing Lyft to try to catch my bills up, I took out I mean, y'all, it's crazy on how it happened. So yeah, y'all, like I just read, people will use you if you let them. If you're useful to them at the time, they will. And another thing too, y'all, don't tell people what you're going through, because they'll use that against you. And I think I already made a video about that. I was at the park and I was telling y'all how a company and my own cousin, he set me up. He set me up too. He set me up misled. I found out that, he was just using me to get in with a company so he could go see what the loads were. Shady people, man. Very, very shady people, y'all. But enemy. That's an enemy in disguise, y'all. I will tell y'all, keep your grass cut low so you can see the snakes. And this is here, all of this, man, is here in the Apocrypha. And I saw my friend, down here in Georgia, he was at a store, saw from a distance. The whole time he saw me, something just told me to turn my head, and I saw him, and he just threw his hand up. I just looked right at him, like, I just kept walking, y'all. I just kept walking. Like I said, it says he will just pass you by and shake his head at you. Like, y'all, this stuff right here, it resonates with me in real life. But that's the video for today, guys. Leave a comment. Share your story. Share your story in the comments. Let me know a time when somebody misled you, and at a time of need, and they pretty much, they failed you, right? You was useful at the time. They tried to sell you something, make it sound good, all for them to capitalize off you, right? And if it doesn't work out, they won't deal with you no more, right? It could be a long-time friendship. So let me know in the comments, y'all. Like, subscribe, share this video, share this wisdom, y'all, and hopefully it help you and help someone who is going through this with a particular person. Don't matter, family, friend, wife, husband, it doesn't matter, y'all. This resonates with anybody. And a lot of times we ignore the red flags. That's my story, and this is Lomax. I am out.